Hey you, and welcome. In this video, we will start learning CSS for styling our HTML. We have already used CSS in the previous video to style our background color for the blog. Now we're going to do a deep dive into what CSS actually is and how can we use it in our HTML projects. So let's dive right into it. So first thing I want to show is how many different ways can you use a CSS in your HTML project. So one of them we already know about. In the head tag of our HTML, we have a style tag, and that style tag can have the CSS. We will talk about syntax in a little bit. Another way to do this would be right on the tag that is being targeted. So let's say H1 in this case will have an attribute called style. And the style attribute would do the same thing. It will allow me to write CSS. However, instead of multi-line, it would be just one line. And I can say background color. Let's make this red so we can really see it. Save. And there we are. So that's called the inline CSS, whereas style tag up top is a global CSS. Then there is the external CSS. To work with the external CSS, we have to start by creating a new file. And I'll just do that right here. And I can name it whatever, but it has to end with .css extension. So I'll say blog.css. It will be aligned with my HTML file. So blog.html will have a blog.css, right? And now I can start working with a selector like we did in the other one. And all the divs will now have a background color of pink. There we are, save. So basically what we did before, but I'm going to just do that again and show how the external file works. I'll split my screen up and down. So we have external CSS up top and then HTML down at the bottom. And the HTML, I will remove the CSS style tag completely. So there's no styles for the div. And let's try and import our external CSS into blog.html. To import that, we have to start using a new tag called link. This is only used in the head tag. So if you use it in body, it won't work. It has to be in the head tag. And link will take href as a attribute, and you can provide it the path to the blog.css. In this case, it's on the same level. So I'll just say blog, and you can see the VS Code is helping us out here. So I can just say, yes, blog.css is the one I was talking about. It's a self-closing tag. Close that as is. If I save it at this point, it shouldn't really work. Perfect. It doesn't work. Reason for that is because link tag is used for many external sources. And in this case, we're using it for styling. So we have to specify what is the relationship between the HTML that we're writing versus the external source that we're importing. In this case, we'll have to pass a relation attribute, and the attribute will have style sheet as the value, all lowercase style sheet. Save that. And now our CSS starts working. So we have linked our blog.css with our HTML. So now if I make any changes up here, the changes are made in the HTML. So I have two different files, but they are linked together using the link tag in HTML. With that out of the way, let's talk about the syntax of CSS. What does it look like? It's very different from HTML where we have diamond brackets. Here now in the CSS, we have curly braces, and we're seeing semicolon and colon separating the values. So let's talk about what does it actually entail. So I'm looking at the blog.css, and first thing first is div. Div is the tag that we're targeting here. So this is called a selector. Selector is when you try to select many elements, many HTML elements on your document, on your HTML, and it will allow you to select all of those and provide style for those specific elements. So that's what a selector is. And then we have the curly braces. That's where you start the body of the style. So anything wrapped in the curly braces is your style. So curly brace start, curly brace end, and then the body in the middle. Then we have the declaration of CSS style. A declaration is a combination of a property that you want to change and the value of that property. What do you want to change it to? So in this case, we're targeting the property background color, and that will be changed to red. And that's how the syntax of CSS works. And notice that the property, once we're done typing the property, we have to put a colon. And after the value we have provided, we have to provide a semicolon. If I was to do the same thing again and provide black and I had something missing, it will start complaining. So VS Code knows CSS, and it will tell you that you're missing something. If I didn't put semicolon at the end, but put a colon right after the property, again, it's going to complain. So you have to make sure you're following the syntax where we have the property, we have the colon separating the property and the value. After the value, we have the semicolon, so we can go to the next line and provide next style that we want to work with. All right, I'll see you all in the next video.